The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
And good morning here at 5 a.m. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher.
Your time now is 5:03, and a massive fire in North Bakersfield sent so much smoke into the air, you could smell it all over town. Take a look at this video sent to us by Brandon Barraza. Huge flames shooting out of an abandoned 3-unit apartment complex on Jewett Avenue near Stella Hills Elementary School. The call came in shortly after 8 o'clock last night. Fire crews cut holes in the roof to let the smoke out, which poured out of the structure. The smoke drifted for miles and could even be seen outside the 17 News studio. We also received several phone calls from people saying they could smell the fire. Officials say it took about 30 minutes for fire crews to contain the flames. No one was hurt.
5:04 is your time now. The violence in Kern County continues to plague our streets, especially this year. And we've learned of another killing, this time in Delano. Police say Nathaniel Obad was shot on Wednesday night on 12th Avenue. Paramedics tried saving him, but he died. He was 23 years old. Police have not said whether they know who shot Obad. If you know anything about this shooting, you're urged to call Delano Police at 721-3369.
Making news around the nation, and a lot of people are talking about this. Tragedy strikes on the set of Alec Baldwin's new movie. We've learned the actor fired a prop weapon that killed one person and wounded another. It happened in Santa Fe, New Mexico, on the set of the film Rust, during a scene involving the use of a prop gun. Investigators say Baldwin discharged that firearm, killing a woman who worked on the set. The film's director was also shot and wounded. He is in the hospital recovering. Baldwin is said to be distraught. Baldwin's representative did not respond to requests for comment after officials confirmed the actor's involvement.
Your time now is 5:05. The manhunt for Bryan Laundrie is over this morning, but questions surrounding the death of his fiancée, Gabby Petito, linger. Laundrie was the only person of interest in her murder when he disappeared over a month ago.
Yeah, late yesterday, the FBI announced his remains have been identified in a nature reserve about 5 miles from his family's home. Jay Gray has details from Northport, Florida.
As crime scene cars cycled through this Florida park all day, the FBI confirming late today with dental records that the partial skull uncovered in this reserve is Bryan Laundrie's. A sweeping conclusion to a 5-week-long manhunt and dramatic search that captured the country's attention. Tonight, the attorney for the Laundrie family speaking to NBC's Tom Yamas for the first time on camera.
I'm sure every parent out there knows that getting the news that your child is no longer, with you is sad under any circumstances. The fact that the Laundries have been subjected to these people out in front of their house for the last 4 weeks, and they continue out there today is just making it all the more difficult.
There was no public comment from the FBI or Northport Police, though the Lee County Sheriff's Department from 40 miles away speaking to conditions in the reserve where Laundrie's remains were found.
We're talking about water levels up above almost the chest area, rattlesnakes, moccasins, alligators.
From above, a view of the FBI's evidence response team performing grid-level searches in the area where Laundrie's belongings and that partial skull were discovered just 24 hours ago. Submerged in water, likely erasing any fingerprints.
That body could be very decomposed, which would mean it has to go to next level, really, of analysis.
Former FBI Special Agent Clint Watts says there's one thing working in investigators' favor, a DNA profile of Laundrie, who's a person of interest in the disappearance of his fiancée, Gabby Petito.
It's much easier to match a profile of a known to an unknown than an unknown to an unknown set, essentially, of DNA and pieces of evidence.
The remains were found submerged in water for days or potentially weeks, accelerating the decomposition process. Now, they obtained a dental imprint which was matched in a day or two, but there are still questions tonight about how Bryan Laundrie died and why a portion of his skull.
Your time now is 5:07. The district attorney's office will be holding a brief ceremony today in downtown Bakersfield that will serve as a rededication of their efforts to address domestic violence in our community. The DA's office says they want to support victims of domestic violence by having resources available for those suffering from the cycle of violence that's so common in domestic violence situations. Today's event will take place at 1 p.m. in front of the Family Justice Center on Oak Street next to Beach Park. Also happening today, Kern County Network for Children and the Department of Human Services is holding a training session to help anyone recognize the signs of child abuse and neglect. Organizers say as a result of the pandemic, many children had fewer eyes on them, ensuring their health and safety remained intact and thriving. This prompted providers to create a space to educate our community in hopes of promoting safer outcomes for kids. The free online session is happening this morning at 11. For more information, you can call 636-4993.
Well, in sports news, still alive but barely hanging on. The Dodgers, once again facing elimination in this postseason, wake up and dominate Game 5 of the National League Championship Series last night. Although the Dodgers won 11-2, Chris Taylor was the MVP of the night. Taylor, who wears number 3, hit 3 home runs in the game. He becomes the first player in history to knock 3 out of the park in an elimination game. Chris Taylor spoke about the incredible moment following the big win.
Anytime you do something cool, when you do it in Dodger Stadium, it makes it that much sweeter. This is a special place, and these fans are awesome. And for it to happen for the first time on this stage in front of this crowd was a special moment.
I mean, it's hard to hit 1 home run and they can imagine 3, especially in the postseason. This is no easy, and that's why there are not that many guys that done it.
Last night was the 7th consecutive elimination game win for the Dodgers. There's no game tonight as the Dodgers and Braves head back to Atlanta for Game 6. But if the Braves win tomorrow, they will go to the World Series and the Dodgers will go home. But if the Dodgers win tomorrow, then they will force a do-or-die game for both teams on Sunday, and then the winner of that game would then advance to the World Series. So just because it's one win, you know, it's very exciting, but they have to win 2 more in a row. The Braves cannot win another game. If they do, they go to the World Series. So Is this possible? Well, if you were following baseball last year, you may remember the Dodgers were in the same exact position. They were down 3-1, and then they won 3 in a row going to the World Series. So is it possible? Yes, but it's going to be a road that's going to be very challenging for them.
Hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, so you want to know what your husband's going to be doing this weekend?
I already know.
A lot of people will be watching the Dodger game this weekend for sure. Recapping your top stories on this Friday morning, and a massive fire consumed an abandoned apartment complex on Jewett Avenue near Stella Hills Elementary School. It happened just after 8 o'clock last night. Fire crews cut holes through the roof to let out that smoke, and you can see right there, it poured out of the structure. The smoke drifted all over town. No one was hurt. A woman is killed and a man wounded in a shooting while working on a movie set in New Mexico. The man carrying the gun, actor Alec Baldwin. The weapon was a prop and used during a film stunt. Baldwin is said to be distraught. Sheriff's deputies say no charges have been filed. The Los Angeles Dodgers live to see another day as they survive an elimination game in the NL Championship Series. The Dodgers win the game 11-2. There's no game tonight as the series heads back to Atlanta for tomorrow. The Braves still lead the series 3-2. That means if the Dodgers lose tomorrow or Sunday night, they will be eliminated.
Your time now is 5:33. Adventist Health today will offer free breast exams to patients who are uninsured.
Yeah, and it's so important, especially have this conversation during October. And 17's Chris Burton joins us in studio this morning with more on the life-saving potential of today's clinic. Chris, good morning.
Good morning, Alex. And experts expect a spike in cancer deaths over the next decade. Among other factors, people have been delaying or skipping cancer screenings because they don't want to go near a hospital during COVID or because they're financially unable to book one. Adventist hopes to address this with its free breast exam clinic happening at the AIS Cancer Center's Breast Center from 1 to 4 p.m. today. Early detection for breast cancer in particular is crucial. Francesca Haney, Director of Breast Services for Adventist, says an event like today's could be life-saving for someone who may not be financially equipped to schedule a regular mammogram.
Our focus has really been on providing services for people who aren't insured, particularly in this time where things might be a bit difficult with the economics during COVID.
Not only is the initial examination free, but should doctors find anything, follow-up services, including mammograms, are free as well. They'll be able to serve about 30 individuals today at the clinic, and reservations are required. To get scheduled, folks can call 637-8101, and the AIS Cancer Center is located at 2620 Chester Avenue in downtown Bakersfield. And one more important note, people of all genders can get breast cancer, so this clinic is open to everybody.
I think that's something that I'm glad that you mentioned that too, because sometimes we forget. 5:36 is our time now, and now to the latest cases of coronavirus here in Kern County. Our public health officials reporting 12 more lives lost to COVID-19 in Kern County. The death toll now stands at 1,644. Hospitals still busy, as state data shows 227 people are in the hospital with more severe symptoms of the virus. 76 are in the ICU. We learned of another 373 cases yesterday. The Kern County Latino COVID-19 Task Force is encouraging those 12 and older to attend a community-wide vaccination clinic today in Arvin. The Pfizer and the Johnson & Johnson vaccine will be available. The free vaccine clinic will run from 2:30 to 6 p.m. today at Arvin High School in the cafeteria. Those who attend are asked to wear a mask. 5:36 is our time now, and on Capitol Hill, Democrats are racing to reach agreement on a social safety net and climate change spending bill before their self-imposed Halloween deadline.
President Biden gave an update on where negotiations stand at a town hall in Baltimore last night. NBC's Chris Malone has more from Washington.
President Biden facing the reality of having no room for error when it comes to passing his agenda.
When you're in the United States Senate and you're a president of the United States and you have 50 Democrats, every one is a president. Every single one.
At a CNN town hall, the president praised Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema, who some Democrats cast as an obstacle preventing agreement on the party's signature social spending and climate change bill.
She's smart as the devil.
The president brushing off concerns that Sinema's opposition to raising certain tax rates will ultimately scuttle a deal.
I'm willing to make sure that we pay for everything without anyone making less than $400,000 paying a single cent more in taxes. That's my objective. And so there's ways to do that.
Congressional leaders had hoped to have the framework of an agreement done today, but members don't even agree whether that's possible.
I think we're very, very close to having a deal.
Is there any chance that you guys come to an agreement by the end of the week here on a framework?
Progressives believe public opinion is on their side.
I would say that Senator Sinema, every Republican, and every person in the House, do what the American people want.
Deal or no deal, negotiations continue as the Democrats' self-imposed deadline looms. During the town hall, the president made news on several other topics. When asked about gas prices, the president had a sober assessment, saying he doesn't see anything that would significantly lower gas prices until next year. In Washington, Chris Malone, NBC News.
House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy of Bakersfield held a roundtable discussion yesterday with House Republicans and guests on the Biden border crisis.
We've been working to raise the alarm, wake up this administration to fix it. They have ignored it. They're just now, because of our push, maybe do a few things.
McCarthy says the Democrats' reconciliation bill will exacerbate this crisis.
They create free citizenship for 8 to 10 million illegal immigrants, including those with criminal records, and no new funding for border security. They actually spent money to stop building the wall. If this becomes law, hardworking taxpayers will suffer, and the drug cartels and human trafficking who are already exploiting the chaos at our border will be rewarded.
McCarthy says Democrats in Congress are pushing to grant blanket amnesty to up to 10 million illegal immigrants and give them $100 billion in taxpayer-funded handouts.
Making news around the state now, Governor Gavin Newsom took the first step yesterday toward creating new buffer zones around oil and gas drilling here in California.
It's about public health. It's about safety. It's about dignity. It's about the ability to live your life out loud. You've heard from so many of the representatives, and you've heard from so many of the leaders about their personal story, the doctors that are in their side of a bed trying to encourage mothers to get exercise, but those mothers are told that they have to close the windows at their own home and they shouldn't go out and exercise.
The proposal by the state's Geologic Energy Management Division would prohibit new wells from being built 3,200 feet from sensitive areas, including homes, schools, hospitals, and nursing homes. Emissions monitoring of wells within those zones would also be required.
And Chad Hathaway, founder and CEO of local oil company Hathaway LLC, says the new proposal will result in major negative impacts to the oil industry and workers here in Kern County, and that local leaders will push back against the plan.
Our elected supervisors are not going to allow on their watch the taking of their single biggest asset base. And I mean, we're already battling this fight in the ag world for water right now just to survive. Now they're trying to take away, and they've been trying to take away our oil for a long time. Kern County has to stand up. Kern County has to fight for what's theirs. And oil is ours. It belongs to everybody here.
Hathaway added that Californians as a whole consume 1.8 million barrels of oil every day.
The plan is also facing backlash from Republican members of the state legislature, including Kern County Assemblyman Vince Fong. Fong released a statement in response, which reads in part, "At a time when Californians need affordable and reliable energy, the governor's once again choosing to increase energy costs." Meantime, the Center on Race, Poverty, and the Environment's community organizer Juan Flores released this statement in support of the plan, saying this industry's elevated its own profits above the health, well-being, and lives of primarily of people of color and low-income communities.
And Kern County Chief Administrative Officer Ryan Alsop issued this statement against the proposal, saying in part, "The announcement, in addition to his directives to halt permitting, are devastating and only fast-track the elimination of millions of dollars in local tax revenue." Now, for the complete plan, details and responses from our local leaders, you can check it out on our website, kget.com.
Your time now is 5:42, and it was only a matter of time. Worsening drought conditions have driven the California Water Service Company to request the city of Bakersfield move to stage 2 of its water shortage contingency plan. And the California Public Utilities Commission is watching. Stage 2 restrictions would put harsh limits on water use throughout the week, restricting the watering of outdoor landscaping, lawns, and plants to just twice a week between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 a.m. It would also require restaurants to only serve water upon request, along with a whole host of other restrictions. If approved, Stage 2 will go into effect December 14th. For a complete list of the proposed water use restrictions and how you can attend an upcoming public meeting set for early next month, head to our website, kget.com.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.